my name is Nelson Puentes. I'm a black belt. I run Inversion gear. I run a small academy as well in Pennsylvania. And when I started running the academy, I inherited a lot of students from the area. And one of the biggest holes my guys had was their guard game and their escapes were completely separate. So I really like thinking about bottom escapes as the secondary layer to your guard. So it's one of the things we've been working on a ton lately, last 3 months in the Academy Open, is just meshing those two together. So it's a more seamless transition between what your guard is to being, oh my God, my guard's not working anymore, I gotta start escaping. So I come from a wrestling background, and in my brain, wrestling takedowns and guard passing, they're like just distant cousins, right? So if me and Charles are wrestling, Charles trying to get to my legs and take me down, right? In order to prevent that, I have my hands, right? Once my hands fail, I have my head. And when my head fails, I have my hips. And I can sprawl, right? If Charles passes my guard, I have my feet. Once my feet fail, I have my knee, right? And then once my knee fails, finally, I have my hip, right? So the sit-out escapes comes from what happens when I mess up, let's say I get put in a snatch pass. Now, he's to my feet, my knees, and my hips. So what I need to do is think about this way. He needs to climb up my body to establish side control or take my back, correct? Only thing I have left is my hands and my elbows. So one, I'm gonna establish a wedge, a block, something to block him from climbing any higher. You can put your elbow in and cup the head, or if it's even higher, I can go back, stay in the smash for now. I can put my wrist in. I just keep this tight, so he tries to climb up, he runs into my body. I'm connecting my shoulder into my elbow, keeping my lats engaged, and he can't climb any higher without releasing pressure to get over my arm, okay? So once I get a wedge in place, all I'm gonna do is just climb and get up on my elbow. Now, he needs to climb up. I changed the game here, okay? So with your partner, I just want you to get to the smash pass position. So both legs are together. Your partner's over you, right? His knees are right around your knee line. He's hugging you. He may or may not have a body lock. It's not important right now. And I just want you playing around with getting your elbow inside and cupping the head. And he's coming up on your elbow nice and strong. Or if he's a little bit higher, work on getting this forearm block. So all I'm doing is punching my hand in, getting my forearm right around his neck trap area, and sitting up into him. And now you feel as a partner on top, give him a little bit of pressure, and you have him feel that he's stable here. He can start working. All right? Let's try that real quick. 1, 2. Most guard passes, you can't just escape your way out of it, right? So, one more time, playing guard. Charles just throws a smash on me, and up here, right? Now, if he's low enough, let's start. This is a good starting point. If we're here and he's below my hips, that means what? My hand can get a seat grip on his strap, and I can straighten my arm out, right? So I don't even need to go into my elbows because I can actually use my hand here because he's low enough for this, right? From here, I can sit up. We're here. Now, since we're here, I can rotate. As soon as I establish one, a block, and two, my posture with my elbow, second thing that's gonna happen is I'm gonna split my legs. I don't want my legs stacked on top of each other where he can drop both of them very easily. I want my legs as far apart as I can within the constraints he's giving me. Right now, I'm getting squeezed between his arms and his legs. So I can split my legs here, okay? Once I split my legs, I'm gonna come up on my arm and extract the bottom leg out, right? Now, we went from a guard pass to a single leg defense. Now, all I'm gonna do is push his head down, clear my knee line, I can hug his hip, spin behind. Cool? Looks complicated, it's really not. Every 5-year-old in Pennsylvania knows how to do this. All right, so we're down here. He's starting his pass. He's doing like a rugby pass. He's wrapping around my legs. Before he can climb any higher, I straighten my arm out. I come up with my elbow. I split my legs. By splitting my legs, clearing my bottom legs is gonna be a lot easier. Now I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna extract my bottom leg. Now from here, it's gonna be a little bit of a fight. Sometimes I have to push the hands to clear my knee. Once I clear my knee, I'm gonna come to my knees here. I'm gonna lean back so my hip is sitting right on top of your shoulder. I'm gonna reach back for the hip and just spin behind. Cool?
When you're clearing that first leg, it's not saying that you guys are going to tell but you lean and grab the material that might accommodate to the first leg.
You just push. Push and pull. Like you break any grip. Yes. And then if you can't break the grip, we'll get into that later. But let's do this real quick, and then we'll go into what happens when I can't break the grips. Yes?
How come you push on the shoulder and not the head at first?
Okay. Because if I'm pushing on, like if I push on the head, he can move his head. It's not as effective, he's gonna keep climbing up. Here is like more steady. He can't really move that shoulder. You know what I mean? Cool? All right, let's try it. 1, 2. So, you're not splitting your legs. Like open your legs. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now we got actually we did the rugby pass, so he's a little bit lower. Looks like I got rugby tackle, right? Now he's actually doing a smash pass, and he's higher than me. So we're here now. We're gonna start using. I can't use push here, because it's too high. So I gotta use my elbow or my wrist block, right? Whatever you prefer. Both of them are gonna work. So I establish my block so he can't climb any higher, and I'm gonna sit up. Once I sit up, same story. I want to split my legs and start moving up. The more I move, the more he's trying to catch up to me, but he can't climb any higher because I have my block in place, right? Now, from here, I have options. Same thing, is I can try to build up and wrestle, or I can do jiu-jitsu. If you don't want to build up and wrestle, if you're not comfortable with your wrestling, what you're trying to do is get back to butterfly hooks, right? So my legs are inside. Pay attention to my knee line. Yeah, get your hips a bit higher on me. If he's here, I cannot establish butterfly hooks, right? So I have to hipscape until my knees are above his knee line. Once my knees are above that knee line, I can start bringing my knees out and establish hooks. Once I establish hooks, whatever you want to do from there. Cool? So one more time. I'm in a proper smash pass. He's higher, he's here. His knee line is above my knee line. Right? Step 1, establish a block. Boom. Right? Step 2, come up on your elbow, start putting pressure, you start hipscaping, little by little. As soon as you hipscape enough that your knees are above his knees, you can start bringing your top leg out. Now instead of extracting our bottom leg and going into wrestling, we're gonna extract our top leg. I'm here, my top leg comes out, and now I have butterfly guard. From here, control 1 point, you can get an overhook, and we can start working on butterfly hooks. I can come in, kick out, whatever you want to do. At that point, we're playing guard again. Does that make sense? Cool, let's try it. 1, 2. So we're passing, right? And then right now we're dealing with a smash pass. So the smash pass is going to be here, and we're going to be here. And my hands are going to be a little bit higher when I'm smash passing. What I'm trying to do here is just control. I'm either going to go straight to mount, or I'm going to staple, back step, and pass. Right? So my legs are going to be a little bit higher, and my body controls are going to be higher. I'm no longer down here on the rugby pass. Right, I progress from here. So a few of you are having issues with your partner still doing the first pass. Right? If all I'm doing is controlling the legs down here, then we do the first one. I'm gonna push, boom, he comes up, and when the rest is scramble. right? But if I'm higher and controlling upper body, then you come up, hips keep, knee line clears, butterfly hooks clear, and attack again. Does that make sense? So if you're having trouble because the arm is blocking your butterfly hook, is because they're too low on you, then all you have to do is clear the leg. Cool? So let's try it one more time. 1, 2. Nope. Now, what happens if this guy gets a body lock, flattens me out, and gets really tight here? He's super tight. So I'm able to get a frame, right? We got a frame into place. I'm able to sit up. But this guy is just squeezing with everything he has, and I'm not getting any leeway here, right? What we're gonna do is, he's so connected to me, and my center of gravity is underneath his center of gravity. All I'm gonna do is pivot on my knees. So right now, my hips are on the ground. I'm gonna pivot on my knee, start coming up. So what happens is, he doesn't wanna get you swept over, right? But I'm here, I'm on my elbow, I'm gonna start pivoting on my knees. He has to like let go of pressure a little bit and base, and then we have guard again. Does that make sense? All I'm doing is, he's so tight on top of me that this knocks him over. Cool? So I'm on my elbow, and I'm with my bottom knee turning. So we're here, we have a frame in place, we come up, I start pushing back into him, I try to hip escape, he's staying super tight, I start turning, he has to let go. We frame guard. Does that make sense?
So he has to post, otherwise he'll be swept.
Yes. And if he doesn't post, go ahead and sweep him. Cool?
Does that work on big guys too?
I've done this with some pretty big humans.
Okay.
Point me to a big guy. We can battle test it right now. Who wants to volunteer? I need a big guy. Come on. Don't be shy. So there we go. Yes. And then he's tight here, right? And he's so tight that he's right on top of my hips. So like any motion. If you're a terrible human, want to take his legs, you go for it. Picture. As Charles Bass, not sure. Or you can just go back into mount, whatever things are. Does that make sense? They're so tight and they're right on top of your center of gravity that their flip happens. Cool?
With that body lock, sometimes I notice that people head to the outside as opposed to like the chest side. Is that, do you just have to like fight to rotate so you can see?
Yes. You don't want people getting behind you. And then we will talk about what happens when they start switching over and getting behind you in the next section. Cool? So we'll cover that. So let's try this, then we'll move on to how to do this when your legs are on the outside and not in the middle. Cool? All right, 1, 2.
Rotate onto me. Yeah, I guess not.
We are here now with a leg drag. So I'm here, Charles is tight, it's the same thing, but now my legs are pinned differently. And both of my feet are technically outside, right? So now, same deal. Establish a wedge, a frame, whatever you want to call it, a block, so you can't climb any higher. And I'm gonna sit up. Cool? Now, from here, I'm gonna start, clearing my legs. As I clear my legs, I'm gonna start bringing my feet back inside. So I don't wanna be here, because right now my feet are not doing anything to prevent them from him to rotate into my back. If he rotates to my back, bad things happen to me. Cool? So we're working here, right? I'm here, I clear my leg, hip escape, start bringing hooks back in, okay? Once I have one hook in, I hip escape, and now I have both hooks in. And now we're back to the same spot. Now we can run the same game. I either go back to butterfly, or I sit up and wrestle. Does that make sense? So, leg drag, establish a block, sit up, clear your bottom leg, bring your bottom leg inside, and keep that hook active. So try to circle. I'm annoying him. We're back here. Does that make sense? Now, can he try to get to my back? Yes. Do I have time to react? Also yes. So let's work on this first, then we'll go into what happens if you just dice through my back the moment we go for this. Cool? All right, 1, 2. So, quick detail here. If I'm here, Charles is heavy here, right? Does anybody having like this trouble clearing the bottom leg? So what we need to do is 1, we sit up. 2, I'm pushing into Charles with my elbow, but also my top leg is gonna push back. See how I'm straightening my leg? This pushes, allows me to get to this spot. Right, and now I have a strong frame here, hook in, with a hook. And then we start knowing Charles again. Cool? Let's try that. Just make sure we're doing both pushing and pushing on the top, and then extracting by bringing the bottom leg up. Cool? All right, 1, 2. Good? All right. So now what we're talking about is, since both our legs are on the outside, we run the risk of Charles just running around my back and getting here. Cool? So if I feel Charles starts sliding around and going for the back, I'm gonna collapse on my shoulder, put my toes on the mat, and put my hips down. All right? One more time. We're here, I have a block in place. This is what gives me the space to do this. All right? He starts coming around. I'm gonna put my toes on the mat, collapse on my shoulder, get my hips as high as possible. Catch me and try. It's not gonna work every time, but it does happen, and then it's very embarrassing for the person on top. Cool? So, one more time. We're here. I frame. He starts sliding around. I'm gonna tug my elbow and go on my shoulder and my toes. Rotate. Cool? If your opponent is like Charles, you be ready for him to pull on your feet at that point. The recovery is like Charles, what dreams? Yes. Draw feet at me. Okay? That's right. 1, 2. I have to replace my frames. So we're here, right? We're in this spot. Charles starts going around. I collapse, and look, my hips go right where my elbow was. And then we're gonna do the half inversion. If you're feeling froggy, go full inversion if you want. But we have to replace here. So I have to elevate my hip and drop my butt right through Charles' chest here. So he puts pressure into me. He's running into something. If I let go of my frame early and I try to invert, I'm going to get flattened out because his chest is going to go on top of me. Then I can't lift this way. Right? So I have to build this frame and get the angle where his chest runs into the bottom of my hip. Right? Then we'll take it here. Cool? Now, questions about what we've done so far? No? Oh.
Do you have any suggestions or advice for how to best build up to your elbow?
So, 45-degree angle seems to work. So, I want to be, like, I would call this 90, call this 45, right? So, when we do 45 to 60, it's going to depend on how long your arms are. Yeah, right? So, one, if you can, you always want to think about alignment. So if my hips are flat and I'm trying to rotate this way, your body only lets you rotate so much because it doesn't want you, like think you're wringing a towel. You don't want to wring your spine, right? So the more you push your hips into position, so they're sideways, then sit into them. So you're coming into alignment instead of out of alignment. That lets you do this more powerfully. Whatever my top leg, especially if I'm sitting up on my right elbow, my left toe, always I want to be making contact with the ground, even if the person's on top of me, right? I want to try to make some contact. If, let's say we're in a leg drag, then I'll push into him a little bit here so I can sit up. But it's like some kind of contact so I can lock my hip in place and allows me to sit up powerfully,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm thinking about pulling this elbow in, almost like you're doing a row, because you want to engage that lat. And now we're doing all these things while holding a frame. And then if you have to, if you feel like you're stuck and you can't sit up, right, start sitting up and pull your hip into your elbow. Usually that helps. Make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. So the one spot I wanted to talk about is this escape system is great when they're right on top of you, but still works if we change the angle slightly. If he goes double unders or under, any kind of like underpass, right? He has to turn to finish. So as he starts finishing this, he pulls me, I'm stacked, he starts coming around, start coming around. I can find his elbow and sit up. Now, is he behind me? Yes, but look where his arm is. So I'm just like C-cup in here, right above the elbow, and now same thing. I'm gonna split my legs, strike my bottom leg, and I face. Right? So any kind of underneath pass, if you're late here and you let him lock his hands and he starts coming around, just look for the elbow, straighten your arm out. We have that block. Same thing. We're in the same position again. Right? Now, there's a bunch of variations here, depends what he does with his legs, but it all comes down to the same. You just hip escape out, usually gonna face into you, and we're back to the open guard. Questions about this? Strike. 1, 2. As we do this, I get picked up. I know I'm in a bad spot. Charles starts putting pressure here. Now he has to pick a side. One of the things you can do is Jedi mind trick him a little bit. I start bringing one knee to your chest. As you push the other one, he's like, huh, I think I can go to this side. Right? This allows you to start just putting your hand in position where you want it. So bring your hand by your pocket. As soon as he starts turning, I get the angle I want. I open the elbow, and I'm sitting up. Now, from this spot, there's a bunch of cool stuff we can do. Depends on his reaction. If his hand is going on the mat there, my inside leg can catch. I can come up into the crucifix. One of my favorite things that happens here is, like, especially big guys, I'm gonna start circling into you with their hips, trying to be heavy. So now all we're gonna do is just build up to our knees, rub around, and get on top. It's almost like a shoguri in judo. So one more time, we're here, boom, I pull, I pick a side, they start coming, and then just keep trying to control your hips into you. Build up to your knees, wrap around. Alright, let's do a cool move for Instagram. I'm rolling over the shoulder that has. We're here, the one that has the leg. So I'm wrapping around the leg, I'm dropping that shoulder down. I'm sorry. Let's do it. All right, guys, last spot. One question that came up a lot was, what happens when they start hunting this arm? Right? So, one, we're gonna make sure we have a frame. Two, as I hip escape, right? If I hip escape, I should be able to get here. So, from my starting spot, I should frame in a manner that he can't reach my arm. Try to reach my arm. He can't get a good grip on it, right? That's why we're talking about, like, should it be on my hand or my elbow? If I'm on my elbow, he reaches, like, he catches my hand, I can apply my Wing Chun. Right? That's all you gotta do. Now, if I hip escape out and my hips gets closer to my elbow, he can catch me. But as soon as I hip escape, my knees and my hooks should be active again, so it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? So if you're in a spot where your hip is close enough to your elbow where he can catch you, at that point you should already have your knees in place where it won't matter. Make sense? So I'm framing. He can't really catch my arm because there's a frame on the way. Try to catch my arm. Right? Now, a hip escape. We're back here already. Cool? play around with that for a minute, and then we'll take a picture and call it a day, okay? 1, 2.